Live from San Francisco, it's theCUBE, covering Pure Accelerate 2017. Brought to you by Pure Storage.
Welcome back to San Francisco. We're at Pier 70. This is Pure Accelerate, and this is theCUBE, the leader in live tech coverage. I'm Dave Vellante with my co-host, David Floyer, first segment of the day. Welcome.
Thank you.
Todd Graham is here. He's the Vice President of IT Infrastructure at ScanSource, and Axel Streichardt, who's the Director of Business Application Solutions at Pure Storage. Gentlemen, welcome to theCUBE.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Well, start with ScanSource. What does ScanSource do? Set up the interview with just a little background.
So we are an international technology distribution company. We have been around since 1994, public since 1994. Today we're in the US, we're in Europe, Latin America, and we are quickly growing to 45 to 47 locations around the globe. We focus very vertically focused on technology such as telecommunications. Recently we bought a telecommunications services master agency so we can deal with service and connectivity. Point of sale and barcode is our original business unit, and we do voice over IP phone systems, video conferencing, and those types of technologies today.
You said you started in '94 and you've been public since '94. You started with an IPO?
It was very early. That's correct.
That's amazing. I got to talk to you afterwards.
That's right. That's right.
That's like Bitcoin or something. Okay, and then maybe we could sort of set up the segment here. Axel, I saw you speaking here earlier to an audience. Maybe describe the discussion that we're going to have here about cloud.
So we of course, focusing a lot on the different flavors of cloud and the different deployment models that SAP customers are considering today, right? So it could be, on-premise, do you want to do it in a hybrid cloud, do you want it in a public cloud? And we see that initially a lot of customers were thinking and considering public cloud as the solution for SAP workloads. And it is interesting that in the recent months, we actually see that from this initial let's say, movement, we see a lot of customers actually reconsidering and coming back, right? And they're seeing that the economics, the flexibility, the agility that they were thinking about when moving certain SAP workloads to the cloud is actually not really the reality, and the reality caught up with them, and they see that the value that they get from Pure Storage, actually to run SAP workloads on Pure Storage, make way more sense from an economical and also from an agility perspective, right? And we also see that IDC and some other analysts, even SAP themselves, they're actually saying that probably 60 to 70% of all SAP workloads will stay on-premise. They will not go into a public cloud or cloud environment.
So Todd, so tell us about, so your ERP customer, SAP customer, you decided to move into the cloud. Maybe tell us about that journey, and you moved in and pendulum swung back, so
yes, absolutely.
Add some color too.
Yeah, we were migrating away from our legacy ERP environment and moving to SAP. It was a greenfield opportunity, so we felt like it was the right time to move into the cloud. We looked very heavily at our internal expertise from an application standpoint, as well as an infrastructure standpoint, and felt that this would be the right opportunity to move to that infrastructure as a service, application as a service model. And then we could take time to take our Center of Excellence team around SAP and do knowledge transfer between the cloud organization, the managed organization, and use it as a ramp for us to educate ourselves more around SAP. Some of the other driving factors were simply, why do we want to go to the cloud? The elasticity, the ease of deployment, the things that we firmly believed at the time were the right decision. And we felt like it could be done quicker by moving to the cloud to do that.
Okay, so you moved to the cloud, and then it wasn't the experience that you thought it would be. It was, correct. Axel mentioned a bunch of factors. The agility wasn't there, the cost wasn't there. Maybe add some color to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We felt like with the growth of our company through acquisition, that speed of deployment was going to be key in the future. And we quickly learned that that was not necessarily the case. Everything became request-driven, SLA-driven, versus actually worrying about what was happening within our application itself. And so we just became another customer that was submitting tickets, if you will, in that environment. Stability and performance, we saw some real impacts to the environment that were actually end user affecting, which really began to force us to look for some different solutions.
Okay, so David, you just participated in the study, we call it the true private cloud. So what was happening was there was a lot of cloud washing going on.
Right.
And with private cloud, we said, well, essentially what people want is to be able to substantially mimic the public cloud on-prem, so they can get back that control and address some of the problems you had. So maybe pick it up from there and talk a little bit about what.
So yes, this is reports that we've done on the amount of the amount of spend that'll go to hyperconverged types of products and bring it back in-house and offer the same sort of facilities to the end users as you get from a public cloud, but in a private cloud itself. Right. So is that how you've done it? Did you take a package, or how did you take your work from the public cloud back into the private cloud?
So part of that was, we did the initial cost analysis of where we were at. Right. And that was one of the main drivers behind, we really can do this in-house ourselves. That's when we began looking at partners that could help us. It was a perfect time that it had set up within our refresh strategy around our traditional storage and compute environment for us to really look at what the cost factors were. Could we improve the performance and the stability of that environment and improve that service to our end users? And so those are the decisions that we made, right? And we said it's time for us to bring that back in. We can have control. And one of the biggest things, it was really more than control, it was that we understood our environment. Right. And that was the biggest thing that we saw a challenge with, was trying to convey the importance of what was happening within our deployment of SAP to the managed services provider.
So what led you to the Pure decision? Like David said, you got some kind of converged infrastructure, whatever, the metaphor for mimicking public cloud. What led you to Pure, and we could talk about what the solution was.
Yeah, one of the things was just the simplicity of Pure. At first, when we heard the story, we weren't sure we really believed it. We're like, this is entirely too simple. The evergreen model was very intriguing to us at the time, because we had been in that traditional storage and compute environment where every 3 years we had a massive project and do a forklift upgrade with, choose any of the providers, and is what we were doing. We were looking to set ourselves up for SAP HANA in the future. We wanted to build an infrastructure that would allow us to get there. And in all of the due diligence that we did, Pure came out on top with that, with a lot of the story around their compression and dedupe capabilities. Performance around I/O was just extremely compelling at the time.
So you got to love this story. I mean, you hear this a lot from customers. It's kind of a unique situation. Maybe.
Yeah, we see this a lot from customers actually by moving SAP workloads, mission critical workloads now to Pure Storage. And what really, it's not just about the evergreen and the simplicity, right? What also resonates very well with customers today is our story around the data platform, right? So it is not about storage anymore. It's really about providing a foundation for certain SAP workloads, and you can seamlessly go from, let's say, a typical Oracle, SAP deployment, and you can start with HANA deployments. Actually, by using our solution, you can actually reducing the cost by up to 75%, right? So these are all compelling reasons, and this all without any configuration changes or any setups that you need specifically for SAP workloads, right? It is so simple that you can run various SAP workloads on the same platform. And to move this actually to another angle is, what if in the future you want to do analytics, big data, Internet of Things? Again, it's the same platform, it's the same foundation that you can run all these various SAP workloads on. And I think this is a very compelling story for us.
And it's interesting for us, it's not just SAP workloads that are running in that environment.
Oh, really?
It's a mixed environment, so we're running everything else on top of that flash stack today.
Now, you've done a lot of work in that
Sure,
area.
yes. Well, I've got one other question I'd like to ask you about landscapes. So you're a big international set of companies that you are servicing. So from a landscape point of view, did you want to centralize that onto one landscape or multiple landscapes? And I would have thought that's an area as well where using Flash was a great advantage, that you could actually...
It is centralized today.
Right.
And then as we grow, we are giving consideration to will we have multiple instances across the globe. But today it is centralized and will be so probably for the next 24 months.
But what you described earlier, Todd, was this sort of this horizontal infrastructure layer that could support mixed workloads.
Right.
But there's got to be some kind of software, something in the middle that supports that as well. Did you have to write something to support that? Was there some kind of orchestration or management
No, today it was everything that we're doing today is within the pure UI or within VMware and UCS Manager today.
Okay, well that'll get you pretty far.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So what do you take away from this in terms of where this market's going? You talked about analysts generally say that most SAP workloads are going to stay on-prem. I think we would generally agree with that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long slog before they're ready for the cloud. At least the core mission critical stuff, right? Okay, so that says there's real pressure on IT organizations to mimic substantially that public cloud experience. Are we there today? A lot more work to be done. And that's like both of your inputs.
Right, and that's the beauty of it. So we're actually providing it at pure, the various flavors of cloud. So if customers want to actually go from physical to virtual, right, we are supporting this because you can actually run your virtual SAP workloads, seamlessly on our storage array. At the same time, if you're already then moving to the next level and you want to have a private cloud environment, right? So we have all the components and capabilities actually built into our product that you can do things like self-service, right? You can have chargeback, you can have auto deployment, right? So all of these features that actually make up a private cloud environment, so we have them in our mix already, right? So we more or less have everything ready for customers today. And if they want to actually go to a hybrid cloud, that's why I'm saying, 30, maybe to 40% of SAP workloads might go into a cloud, into a public cloud or a hybrid cloud environment, right? And we actually also providing this hybrid cloud capability that you can move workloads seamlessly to an Azure, to an AWS, or to a Google Cloud, right? So we just heard this morning, we have this capability to move certain workloads seamlessly from on-premise pure onto AWS, for instance. So we have all the ingredients, so throughout this entire journey that the customer wants to go through, right, that they can actually move along with this one data platform, and that makes it...
So Todd, how do you decide now, knowing what you know, what goes where? What to put in the public cloud, what to put on-prem, what's eventually going to be hybrid? Well,
and we have adopted a strategy of cloud first, which means will the workload or will the application fit in that as a service model? It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to put everything there. We still believe that most mission critical, anything around ERP will most likely remain in-house. And one of the main differences that we saw is the availability and uptime that the pure system gives us around what we could see that the managed services providers could provide. And downtime is really not tolerated, and it's one of those things that we need, and when it's down, we've got to have things back up, and we need the availability to our end users. And as we expand across the globe, we're becoming more of a 7 by, maybe today we're 6 by 20, we're not fully 7 by 24 shop yet, but we're getting to that, and so we're looking at the infrastructure that will help us achieve that goal.
But you're looking at cloud as an operating model more so than a destination, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
And then of course there's a destination aspect of it, which is a function of what performance and cost, and what do you look at? What are the
Yeah, so performance is obviously key for us. Cost is always an important factor, but it's probably number 3 or 4 on the list, right? Availability, uptime, and performance are key. And if we can get those, we can get the support and the availability that we need, then maybe it makes sense, right? If it's a web application, if it's something that's very straightforward. Again, one of the biggest reasons that we go back to bringing it in-house is we truly understood the environment and how things fit together. Whereas in that managed services environment, it was very difficult to do that.
And what about security? We haven't talked much about security today, but where does that fit in your cloud decision?
Especially internationally, and the different rules in different countries, for example.
Yeah, so internationally it's a challenge with all of the data privacy laws and the things that are country specific. And we're learning a lot of that in Latin America as well as we begin to move into those markets. But security is absolutely top of mind. We will work with those cloud services providers, but we've talked to a lot of folks along the AWS and the Azure route, and we're comfortable with where the security around the cloud is going. We're talking to a lot of the new cloud security brokers to understand what they can bring to the table as well. And it's not just an IT discussion, it's a legal discussion. Right? We're having those legal teams come back to us and say, well, what does this mean? Right? Where's the data going to live? And is it going to fit within our retention models and all of the things that we have in place today? So
good. Okay, we got to leave it there, but Axel, I'll give you the last word.
The last
Pure
word?
Accelerate. Give me the bumper sticker.
So we're really excited to have actually a confirmation from a customer side to see that the strategy and the direction that we're going here at Pure is exactly on par with what customers are actually demanding and what they want when it comes to SAP or mission critical workloads. So I'm really glad that we're hearing this now from a customer and get the confirmation from a customer. So I'm just really super duper excited to have Todd here with us to hear directly from a customer.
Excellent. All right, cloud first. theCUBE, we hope you're first. We're first on your playlist. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on theCUBE.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Yep, thanks.
All right, keep right there, everybody. We'll be back with our next guest right after this short break.